Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episodes 2 and 3 of Pop Team Epic. So yeah, we are back this week with another round of this really random show. But before we get into that, I do have to mention a couple things. We are doing 2 episodes this week. I would have normally done more, actually, with how short each of these episodes seem to be. Although it's only, 13 episodes, so it's like, I also don't want to kind of go through too fast, but I probably would have done maybe 3 episodes, but I have so much stuff to get recorded for this weekend. The only thing I've gotten pre-recorded is Ruby. Normally I pre-record She-Ra. I would pre-record Loud House. JoJo. JoJo came out today, so I mean, I wouldn't have been able to pre-record that till today anyways, but I have not gotten to She-Ra or Loud House yet either, so... And then on top of that, my friend invited me to go out to the bar tonight to hang out, play his game, and have some beers and stuff, and it's like, yeah, why would I pass it up? I love playing his game. It's a great game. And it's fun to hang out with him, have some beers, and just play for a few hours. So, yeah, why would I pass it up? Plus, if I beat him in a match, which is like 5 to 7 games, he actually pays me. It's like a prize, because it's his game. He created it. And it's a legitimate board game, too. So... whenever I beat him in it, he gives me $10 if I beat him in a match. Maximum of 20 per time we play. Normally we would go on the scheduled game nights on Thursdays, but this past Thursday, yesterday, I was actually supposed to have D&D. But it had to be canceled, second time that it's had to be canceled recently, because our Dungeon Master had a sickness in his family, and it took precedence, and rightfully so. But either way, I'm getting off topic here. Well, I mean, it kind of fits with Pop Team Epic, getting completely off topic and going into random spiels. But the point of it all is, now I'm probably going to have to record the stuff for this weekend in my bedroom, either overnight or early tomorrow. And tomorrow I might even be going to a Christmas party at night, so I don't even know, what's happening tomorrow. But, I mean, that would be at night, but still. So yeah, either way, we're only doing 2 episodes this time. And here's the thing. Now, as we know from what we saw with the first episode, the episode is only half length, but it's repeated. The first half is done with these, strong, overly exaggerated, almost JoJo-style male voices. And the second half is done with more feminine voices. But it's the exact same gags, the exact same skits, and that's what kind of show this seems to be. I kind of made a slight comparison to Nichijou last time, and it's a little different, though, because Nichijou actually does have some ongoing stories, some character arcs and stuff, and it's not as random. This, with Pop Team Epic, it seems to be more just like, oh, we're going to take these characters, do whatever the fuck we want with them. And it's just like, there's no plot or character to them. They're just like these recognizable models, basically, who are being used in various random-ass skits that can range from anything. We also had that major fake-out in the first episode, which was fantastic, honestly. Because we had this full opening for a completely fake anime series. A full opening, we had a scene for what I would assume be the main character, and it even came back at the end. And it's like, it was honestly a brilliantly done misdirect. I've talked about this in various other shows when it's happened, but I love it when a show can misdirect you on where it's going completely. And you could kind of say regular show does that with its format of starting with an ordinary thing going into like this extraordinary result. It's kind of misdirecting you on where the show's going to go, but after a while, like with each episode being that same format, it's not quite not quite a surprise anymore, not quite a misdirect anymore. At that point, it's the format. It's just how it is. But with Pop Team Epic, it's like, I feel like this is going to be one of those shows that just doesn't have any rules to it. It doesn't have any rules, it doesn't have a format, outside of just being a bunch of random skits. And in that way, it reminds me of two specific things. One, Saturday Night Live. Yes, Saturday Night Live does have some recurring gags and characters and even some recurring skits. But the format of Saturday Night Live is that it's just a bunch of skits starring the same actors and whatnot. They usually have very little to nothing to do with each other. And it's just kind of a bunch of random humor, sometimes stuff that is relevant to the political climate or whatever, or the celebrity climate, all of that kind of stuff. But it's just a bunch of skits in a row. It's a skit-based comedy series. And then you have, the second show I want to bring up is The Amanda Show, or even All That. Both of them actually would count here. Both All That and The Amanda Show were these Nickelodeon airing skit-based children's comedy shows. They're basically Saturday Night Live for kids. They starred like some great comedians: Kenan Thompson, Kel Mitchell, Amanda Bynes, Drake Bell, and Josh Peck, I believe, actually got their start on that before even Drake and Josh. And it was really funny. There was a lot of great recurring skits. All That is, I believe, where Good Burger started, which spawned its own movie, which is still fantastic. It's one of those movies it's bad, it's poorly, like, it's just stupid, but it's really funny and entertaining at the same time. It's one of those movies that it's supposed to be like that. And there were like other skits, like there's this one where Drake Bell played like this long-haired, shirtless guitar kid in the garage who would like give some kind of really random, like fake inspirational statement or something, and then just like say something like, I think it was either awesome or radical or something like that, and just start playing his guitar. But yeah, it kind of reminds me of those kind of things, a skit-based comedy show. And that's kind of what I think this show, Pop Team Epic, is going to be. A skit-based comedy with random humor. You see the same characters, but in reality, those characters, Popoco and PiPi-P, are the actors. They're playing different versions of themselves in these extremely weird, random, and wild skits. And each one, like, we might see a skit that repeats itself or is similar to a skit from before, or is maybe even a continuation of a skit from before. But for the most part, they're going to be disconnected. And I think that's a fun format. It's a different format, because it's different from Nichijou. Again, Nichijou actually had character arcs and story arcs that did carry over. Yes, there was a lot of really random stuff. Like, there's one episode of Nichijou where a lot of it was just this really random thing about this military group up in this, like, sky ship or something, this giant, sky ship. And, like, the one guy, like, tripped and fell and just died. And then multiple people, like, fell through this hole in the ship. And it was extremely out of nowhere and had nothing to do with any of the other characters. But for the most part, Nichijou focuses on on specific characters, such as the three girls in the high school. I cannot think of their names right now. Or Nano and Hakase, the robot and her professor. And their misadventures with the cat Sakamoto-san. So yeah, I remember their names for some reason. I need to watch Nichijou again. I see clips all the time, just random places. I see clips and still shots and all of that. It really just, it really survives the test of time. People still use Nichijou for memes and macro imaging and stuff. It really survives the test of time. Either way, I've talked long enough about this, but based on the first episode, if it does continue to do this same kind of format, the same kind of like skit comedy thing, the sketch comedy, I think I'll enjoy it. It will definitely not reach like favorite anime of all time or anything. It'll definitely not be like even close to like I'd even say top 50 maybe. But it's one of those things that I think will be funny enough to keep my attention, and not really falter with that. But one thing I forgot to mention before when I was talking about how it's split into two halves, I will only be watching the first half of each episode. I'm not going to watch the same skits and stuff twice. The only difference really is the voices. I was told that the French skit in the first episode, there were subtitles on the second one. That's the only kind of thing I might try to look up if that happens again, if I need subtitles or whatnot to get the joke. That's the only time I'll look up stuff in the second the redo of it. Otherwise, I'm just gonna watch the first part of it, the first go through, because like I said, it's the same exact skits both times. The only real difference, besides maybe subtitles, I guess, is the fact that the voices are different. It's not really worth watching all the way through again. So, yeah, either way, I'm excited to see what we have in store for these next two episodes. And for now, let's just get on with it. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect, and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts, and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. It's like, I was thinking while watching as well, it's like, what am I even going to say about this at the end? It's like, this is one of those shows that it's like, since it doesn't have any recurring plot or anything, since it is basically just a sketch comedy series, you don't have much to talk about. There's not really anything to discuss, not really any plot points to think about, nothing to really theorize over. I mean, the only thing I can really discuss is, like, my thoughts on the certain skits and whatnot, and it goes at such a pace that it's hard to even remember all of them. But I will say, the Bob Team Epic skits, or the Bob Epic Team, rather, Bob Epic Team, those are my least favorites so far. I don't know, I think they're trying a little too hard to be ridiculous. The other skits feel a little more natural with its ridiculousness. Because there are certain ways you can make complete random humor feel natural. It's actually really impressive when shows can do that, and Nichijou does that well. Even though it's like what I mentioned in my pre-thoughts, that one episode where it's just this military group in the sky ship and all. And it's like, it comes out of nowhere, there's no precedence for it, but at the same time, it's like you just get interested in it. But with this, it's like even though there's multiple ones, it seems, in each episode, there's like, I don't know, there's just nothing that really makes it that interesting. It just seems like they're trying too hard to do the most ridiculous gags they can in that more purposefully poorly done style. It doesn't seem like they really have any goal for it, other than being as ridiculous as possible. So yeah, it's not as funny or entertaining to me. as the other skits. So I guess multiple episodes are going to have these French skits as well, where the characters are speaking in French and all, and you have the one guy who kind of introduces you to them. I like those ones. Although I do have to go to the second half of the episode to get the subtitles on that. I think they're fun, and it's interesting to see. It's like, it's kind of random and out there, but it's cool to see still. It's cool to see them giving some love to France for that. Because there's a lot of animations and stuff, especially like with classic cartoons like Looney Tunes and whatnot, that make fun of France a lot. Like, they always make jokes about the accent, about the food, about the way they dress, and a lot of it's over exaggeration. Maybe there's some precedence to some of it, mostly from like the past and everything. But it's like, people in France are just people. Yes, they have an accent, but to us, or to them, we have accents. We might sound silly to them. I mean, some of my viewers, you guys can tell me, do I or other Americans, do our accents sound silly to you? Do we sound just kind of weird in comparison to just how your accents normally are? I'm sure we do to a degree. And I'm sure that goes for any culture out there. Whether you're Japanese, you're German, you're Spanish, you're Russian, you're Argentinian, Brazilian, whatever. I'm sure to, like, everyone, it's like other accents, yeah, they're going to sound different. They're going to have different inflections and different sounds to them. But that's just how it works. They're nothing to necessarily make fun of. And from what I've seen, French people dress the same as anyone else. Like, they don't always go around wearing, like, fancy hats and striped shirts and suspenders and whatnot. They don't all have, like, curly mustaches. It's like, where do these things even come from? I mean, it's like, I'm not saying they're, like, super offensive or anything. I personally can't say that. I'm not French. I can't, I'm not going to speak for you guys. But I'm just saying, it's a little silly at times. But it's fun to see a show. It's like, it's not necessarily making fun of the French. It seems like these French skits in this show are more about, like, okay, we're going to take an aspect of French culture. In this case, it was the baguette. And we're just going to have a joke about it. And it's like, okay, cool. Fine. I mean, it's not like it's giving, like, this massive amount of love and respect to France necessarily, but it's showing a lot more than some cartoons have done, let's be honest. Either way, I do enjoy this for what it is. Again, as I said in my pre-thoughts, Pop Team Epic is not going to, like, be anywhere near my favorite anime. It's just not. I can tell that just from watching these episodes. It's fun, it's entertaining, it's something that I have no issue watching, but again, it's not going to ever be anything I'd consider great. Kind of like, I mean, honestly, that's kind of like my feelings on Saturday Night Live. It's like, okay, I enjoy it to a point, I like some of these gags, some of it's really funny, some of it's not. And I would never consider it a favorite show of mine, but I enjoy watching it from time to time. So yeah, I think overall, this will be a series I'll have no issue finishing. I'll definitely have no issue finishing this for reactions. I don't know how many episodes we're going to do on average each week. I mean, last week we only did 1, this week we did 2. I'm not saying we're going to just keep going like that, and next week we do 3, no. But we'll just kind of have to see. It's just going to depend, and yeah, this is one of those shows I guess I don't really mind if we get through too quickly, because, again, it's only like 13 episodes long, and at the same time, it's like, it doesn't, again, it's a skit comedy, a sketch comedy series. I'm not really worried about, like, going too fast and not having time to digest everything like I am with other shows. So, yeah, I think we'll be fine either way. But yeah, so tell me your thoughts on these episodes, I guess, whatever you have a thought on, in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles, shed tears along the way, you're still standing, live, love, laugh.